What's up, YouTube? Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Variety Pack. This is episode number 4, and I am your host, Derek Andrew. And tonight we have a great episode in store for you. We're going to be discussing movies, more in particular, comic book movies, with a huge comic book movie coming out next week, Deadpool and Wolverine. Can't wait to see what they do with that. It's supposed to be the savior of the MCU, so we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it lives up to the hype. As soon as I go watch that, I'll be definitely putting up a review on YouTube. But tonight I'm going to go ahead and discuss my top 10 comic book movies of all time. Before I get into that, I just want to give a special shout out to my boy Moya, who, out of the kindness of his heart, wanted to help upgrade the channel for me, sent me this microphone, try to get some better quality audio. I really appreciate it, Moya. You're my partner in rhyme. You're my bro for life. Love you, bro. Thank you so much. So before I get into my top 10 though, I'm gonna go ahead and give some honorable mentions of some movies that didn't make the list, but definitely deserve to be recognized. First, Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. This movie was insane for its time, way ahead of its time. And what they did with that was some groundbreaking stuff, great storyline, great acting, an amazing villain. Doc Ock did such a great job that they had to bring him back for Spider-Man No Way Home, which might be on my top 10 list, we'll see. But definitely deserves to be mentioned because it was way ahead of its time, like I said, and still talked about till this day, over 20 years later. My second honorable mention is Captain America: Civil War. This is continuing the Spider-Man trend. This is when the new Spider-Man first came in, or the latest Spider-Man anyways, with Tom Holland. He made his premiere in this movie. Such a great movie, had all these comic book characters going against each other. Great storyline, and honestly, before Thanos, the villain in this movie, forget the actor who played him, and he didn't have like a huge role, but he's the one that, stirred everything up. His performance was phenomenal. He was actually my favorite MCU villain up until Thanos came out. So yeah, Civil War definitely deserves to be mentioned up there. Great movie. And my third and final honorable mention is The Batman, the one produced by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson. I thought that they did phenomenal with this movie. The whole tone, I love the darker tone, edgier. Definitely brought out the detective aspect of Batman. Robert Pattinson did an amazing job. I believe it's Zoe Kravitz who played Catwoman, I believe so. But she did a great job. Great performances all around. One who stole the show for me was Colin Farrell as Penguin. Talk about unrecognizable, and put on a great performance. I can't wait to see his spin-off show coming out on HBO Max. I believe it's the end of this year, so definitely excited to see that. If you haven't seen the trailers for the Penguin, go look them up. You will not be disappointed. But those are my honorable mentions, and we're gonna go straight in to my top 10. So coming in at number 10, The Dark Knight Rises. Absolutely love this film. Bane is one of my favorite villains of all time. I actually have a tattoo of Bane. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see. But yes, I have a tattoo of Bane because what Tom Hardy did in that role is just a testament to the amazing actor that he is. When I first heard that Bane was going to be, the main villain besides Ra's al Ghul's daughter, I wasn't too excited. I was just like, how are they going to do this? But I'm over here thinking of Batman Forever Bane. And yeah, no, they brought a whole different aspect. He was like, just the way he talked, his sayings, the stuff that, not only that, the way he fought, everything about Bane to me was just like a top tier villain and one of my, I'd say, top three villains of all time in a comic book movie for me. Especially, like I said, with that performance that Tom Hardy gave. Amazing, amazing performance. That's why it comes in at number 10. And we're going to be moving on now to number 9. Number 9 on my list, Marvel's Black Panther. This was definitely a groundbreaking film. The visuals are amazing. Chadwick Boseman, they'll never be able to replace him as Black Panther. He just embodied that role to a T and gave an unforgettable performance anytime he was Black Panther. Michael B. Jordan, another one of my favorite villains. Killmonger was just someone that you don't mess with, man. And he had his eye on the prize, and he knew what he needed to do, got it done. Definitely delivered a really, really solid performance. So moving on to number 8, I have The Avengers. The first Avengers movie, talk about groundbreaking. Having Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, all these guys on the screen for the first time together. This was insane to see. They really, really changed the comic book movie game with that one. And so that's why it's number 8 on my list. So moving on to number 7 is Captain America's Winter Soldier. This one, I can't even say enough about it. Such a great story, such a great performance. Chris Evans, when I first heard he got put as Captain America, I wasn't too excited about that either. He just didn't seem like he had the acting chops for it, but he ended up being the perfect Captain America, and I don't know if there is going to be anyone else who can fill those shoes. The one guy I see who could play him is Glenn Powell. I think he could be a Captain America. That's just my opinion. You could agree, you could not. I don't know. Maybe you tell me who you think would be a good Captain America. Obviously, we have Anthony Mackie playing Captain America in the new movie coming out. The trailer dropped. Maybe I'll do a reaction to that one. I need to watch that trailer. I watched it, but I didn't get to fully pay attention to it. I had something going on while it was playing, so maybe I'll drop a reaction to that. But yes, this movie was a solid movie. Can't say enough about it. And it's definitely always been up there. It actually used to be in my top 5, but there's been some movies that have come out since that kind of knocked it out, but it's always gonna be in my top 10, I feel. So that's number 7. Number 6, Todd Phillips' Joker. Loved this movie. Not a lot of people did, but a lot of people went in with the wrong idea. They were expecting a typical comic book movie, and it was the furthest thing from it. But I loved the dark world that it was in. I loved the performance that Joaquin Phoenix delivered. Second best Joker of all time, in my opinion. I'm excited for the second part. I think the addition of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn is going to be amazing. I think that was a perfect pick. I love Lady Gaga. She's a great actress. If you haven't seen her, watch her in American Horror Story. I don't know all the seasons that she's come out, but she always knocks it out the park in the ones that she's in. Or watch A Star is Born with her and Bradley Cooper. Such an amazing performance. I honestly didn't even know that she could actually really sing until I saw that movie and heard the soundtrack. I had never really paid attention to her music, but I always heard her singles like, Paparazzi and Poker Face. And I just thought she made pop music like that, but I had no idea that she had a set of pipes like that. And I cannot wait to see what she does with Harley Quinn. Can't wait to see the direction that Todd Phillips, takes the second one. Obviously, we know Joaquin has the Joker rolled down, so I'm so excited for the second one. But yes, Joker comes in at number 6. Great movie, great acting, great plot twist, great score. Such a shocking moment. I remember everybody's jaw dropped when Arthur shot Robert De Niro. That was an intense scene. The whole build up, the music, just everything. They did a great job at hitting that mark. But yes, that's why it comes in at number 6. Absolutely love Joker. Again, can't wait for the sequel. All right, let's get to our top 5, or my top 5. Coming in at number 5, Iron Man. I don't know how a lot of you feel about it, but I have Iron Man at number 5 simply because this movie, along with The Dark Knight, this was when comic book movies really started to take off. Like you were like, oh, this is something to take serious now. Like, it's not cheesy anymore. Besides, like I said, Spider-Man 2 was phenomenal, but Spider-Man 3 kind of took it and really regressed, and nothing had come out since that was you were able to take serious. Batman Begins, yeah, a little bit, but it didn't hit like Dark Knight and Iron Man, and they both came out around the same time. And Robert Downey Jr., this is what got him his career back, and he delivered such a great performance as Tony Stark. And the visuals were on point, the suit, the way it looked, just everything about this movie showed you that the Marvel Cinematic Universe was about to be a huge hit, and it was for the next 10 to 12 years. So yeah, that's why Iron Man is number 5 on my list. Absolutely love it. Always going to be a classic to me, and can't say enough about it. So number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. I told you it would probably be on my list. A lot of you probably already knew that, but yeah, this was a great movie. Having all 3 Spider-Man in the movie, talk about something you thought you'd never see. The fact that they got Tobey Maguire to come back, Andrew Garfield to come back, which I absolutely loved Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and I loved both movies of The Amazing Spider-Man. I wish that they would have finished off that series, but it is what it is. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. Wish that they would have kept going, but at least they brought him back for No Way Home. This was a great movie. Having all the villains come back on top of it, Jamie Foxx's Electro delivered a great performance. Doc Ock, William Dafoe as Green Goblin, all of them, everybody came back, delivered a solid performance, great storyline, great ending of the movie, great action, great visuals, just a solid movie that did not disappoint. And that's why it is number 4 on my list. So moving on to number 3, here we go. Top 3 on my top 10 comic book movies of all time. So coming in at number 3, Logan. I cannot say enough about this movie. This is like the first time they let him really go. Let him, it was more gruesome, more unfiltered, more raw, and Hugh Jackman. I honestly was not a fan of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine up until this movie. Once he got to really take the reins off, or the chains off, however you say it, like, he delivered such an amazing performance. The story was amazing. Having the evil Wolverine, when he stabbed Professor X, that was one of those jaw-dropping moments where you're like, what the heck is going on? Talk about a huge plot twist. Just great performance overall. You know, the little girl who played his daughter delivered a top-notch performance. Absolutely loved it. I'm hoping that she comes out in Deadpool and Wolverine because she was definitely a character that I want to see more of. And just the way that they had everything in the movie, it's like X-Men comic books, X-Men, I believe they had some of the figurines, I believe, but either way, like, they brought that into the movie, and it was really, really cool to see, and how he was telling her, like, this is just comic books, this is bull, you know, this, you're not gonna find anything here, you've been following the wrong thing, you've been believing the wrong things. Just a great, great story. Can't say enough about it. I wish I would have seen the black and white version because I heard it gives a whole other feel to it. If you have seen it, please let me know if it does give that other feel. Maybe I'll see if I can find the black and white version online somehow. But yes, that's why it's number 3 on my book, on my top 10 list. Can't say enough about it. So coming in at number 2, Dark Knight. I actually wanted to put this at number 1, but I couldn't over number 1. And Dark Knight was just, man, almost the perfect movie. I mean, I don't have many gripes about it. I have nothing but praise for it. You know, if I had to complain, I think the only thing I would change is I'm not a big what's his name? Aaron Eckhart, I think. I'm not a big fan of his. I would have chose someone else that's Two-Face, but it wasn't like bad or anything. It wasn't anything where I'm like, just ruin the movie. No, it was still solid. He gave a solid performance. Obviously, Heath Ledger. I showed you my Bane. I have Heath Ledger all over my arm because what he did in that role. Talk about, I did not want him on that role at all. When I heard Heath Ledger, I was like, are you kidding me? This is the guy that they're going to get to replace Jack Nicholson. Are you freaking kidding me? They weren't kidding, and they knew what they were doing because he delivered a performance of a lifetime. And till this day, I still say it's the number 1 Joker performance. The majority of people that I talk to all agree that it's the best Joker performance of all time. Really, really wish we could have got another one with him in it, but I'm glad we got that one. And they just, like, it was perfect balance. Like, they didn't overuse him, they didn't underuse him. He didn't overact. He just delivered such a chilling performance. He could go from being silly and, you know, like a normal clown to very cynical and very dark and very scary. Like, that performance, top notch. And that's probably it's tied for number 1 as far as my greatest villains in a comic book movie ever. And it's just always going to be up there. I guarantee that one will always be in my top 3. If anything comes and knocks it out of my top 3, I will be highly surprised. But that's why it's number 2 on my list. Absolutely love it. I remember being at the midnight premiere, and man, such a moment in time. That's why I love it. That's why it's number 2. Now, for number 1, greatest comic book movie of all time to me. A lot of you might guess this. A lot of you might think it's something else. But for me, it's Infinity War. I know a lot of you might have been thinking Endgame. I honestly was not that big of a fan of Endgame. I don't know why, it kind of let me down. I wasn't a big into the whole time travel and everything, and it just kind of got a little too cheesy for me at times. And then I really hate that they didn't give Hulk, you know, a moment to redeem himself after getting made to be look like a little punk ass, you know. I really hate that they didn't let him redeem himself. I mean, he got slapped around by Thanos in Infinity Wars, and he was just never the same after that, and I absolutely hate that. But yes, Infinity Wars is my number one movie of all time. This was not just a movie, this was a freaking cinematic event when it happened. Talk about, 10 years of buildup, and it did not disappoint. And Josh Brolin as Thanos, you couldn't have found a better actor to play that role. He just knocked it out of the park is an understatement. Absolutely owned that role. The writing for him, the dialogue that he uses, his whole demeanor, you almost cheer for him. Like, you're almost like, man, I get it. I get why he's doing what he's doing. And he's right. You almost say that because he delivers such an amazing performance. He's tied for number one in my top villains of all time in a comic book movie. He's one of my greatest villains of all time, period. And I can't say enough about it. Like I said, this was not just a movie. This was a cinematic event. I remember being in the theater, and each time a hero made an appearance for the first time, people were freaking cheering. Captain America came out, crowd was going crazy. Black Panther came out, people yelling Wakanda forever. Just such a great moment to be alive, such a great experience. And Marvel, I don't see them ever matching that. Not even just topping it. I don't see them catching that moment ever again. But the fact that they caught that moment, that's a testament to them. That's kudos to them for all that hard work, all that buildup, the patience that it must have took to say, all right, we're gonna do 10 years of buildup to this one story. And I remember when he made the snap and people started disappearing, everybody was just like, holy cow, they are killing off all of these heroes in this movie. And it was just mind-blowing. Everything, this was almost another flawless movie to me. And the only reason it's tops The Dark Knight is because it was such, like I said, a cinematic event. It wasn't just a movie. This was something you had to be a part of, something that everybody was waiting for, and it did not disappoint at all. And that's why it's my number one pick for top 10 comic book movies of all time. Infinity Wars, Thanos, great movie, will go down in history. Should have won a freaking Oscar for what they did with that movie. But anyways, thank you for joining me. This was my top 10 comic book movies of all time. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Let me know what you would add. Let me know what you would take out. And we'll chat it up in the comments. I'm excited to hear your opinions, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Variety Pack. Take it easy.